So we have one question. I think this is going to go back to Ryan and Rob. So I think this is asking about the program that you're in, Ryan. So what type of high school classes should somebody take to prepare or qualify for the program?
Personally, I don't think there are any that you absolutely have to take if you wanted a leg up. Trying to take some college level math classes, at least to get exposure to some of that stuff. The same with physics and chemistry, just to have some background knowledge going into your lower division classes. I know that for me, that would have been a huge help. But I don't think that there's anything that you absolutely have to take. Rob, do you have any thoughts on what would be beneficial?
Yeah, my biggest thought is that that high school and shortly thereafter should really fundamentally be a time of exploration. Nothing is worse than completing a degree and getting a job to learn that you hate it. And so I would much rather have you discover in my program that engineering is not right for you, and then we find the right space for you if that's the right thing, that perhaps you belong in an engineering adjacent space, or perhaps we really need to get you into a theater program or whatever else. And even better than that is to take some of those courses early on. If you can take them in the lower division and figure out, oh, you know what? If I were going to be an engineer, Rob's program, that'd be the best program. Maybe it's not the best program for you. I think it's the best program. But figuring out that, oh, maybe my life should go this way, doing some goofy things, silly things, broaden your horizons, stretch yourself, grow yourself in different ways. You don't know how some of the crazy classes you take. I took some photography classes in high school. And because of those photography classes, I was able to answer one of the key questions that I was asked at my master's thesis defense, right? So you'd never know where those connections are going to be made and what they're going to look like. And so I would encourage, some depth, but and go after some of the STEM things, but also broaden yourself, have fun exploring. That's my advice. I hope that answers the question.
I think so. And I want to kind of have a question after that here. So this is all for all three of you. And Rob, you kind of addressed some of it, but either looking back at the middle school, high school version of you, or looking back at what you know now, what type of experiences either inspired you, or do you think students, high schoolers, middle schoolers should pursue to help inspire them into possibly identifying what career pathway they might look into?
Play. That's my biggest. Play. Have fun. Embrace life. Do things with a passion. And while you're there, learn. Right? So much of school now is memorizing random things. Get in, whether it's robotics or art or whatever it is, play and have fun and learn the things to let you play even better. I don't know, that's my thing. I probably got too excited there. I'm sorry. Andy, Ryan, what are your thoughts?
I would definitely agree on the play part. One thing that we haven't really discussed a whole lot, and with this big project that these students have coming up ahead of them, teamwork and communication by far is the strongest skill, that because any amount of, no matter what, I had some Facebook friend chatting me like, oh my gosh, you must be so smart to work at a nuclear power plant. No, I'm smart enough to know when I need to ask for help from my teammates. I have a good enough relationship with my teammates because I'm a team player that they will help me out. And ultimately, there is nothing that is too big, too complicated if you break it down to its lowest common form. If you take it all the way down, and I'm sure that Rob and Ryan would agree with me, if you break it down to its smallest form factor and truly understand all of those smallest form factors, you will understand how it does its job when it all goes together. But team and communications, 100%, if you're a good communicator and if you're a team player, cup half full type person, people will gravitate towards you, people will help you, and you will be promoted.
Yeah, I think I don't have a lot more to add. I would just kind of echo what Andy and Rob said. When I was in middle school and high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I did the things that I enjoyed, and some of those things that I've done have come into play and helped me make some connections that I don't think I would have been able to make had I not had those experiences. And as Andy was saying, I mean, that's why we work on teams. No one person can have a 100% solution. But if you have enough people, all of them can contribute to the final product. And I think it's really important to make those connections. Now, that's one thing that we do a lot at TCE, is making the connections with our peers and industry professionals to understand as best we can and put those pieces together to create a final product.
One more thing to add too, I've been doing the robotics thing for over 10 years now. One thing that's always been common and can be very small is when you're experiencing a full project like that, and this energy project will be very similar to that, are you enjoying using your hands, or are you enjoying thinking out the process, putting it to paper, coming up with the plan? Because I know personally, I can go out in my garage all day long and just move objects of wood around. I don't even have to cut any wood, and I can be at peace. But if I start making something, especially, and it produces into something, even if I don't think it's perfect, which I never do, but that is so peaceful to me. And what it is that's giving me the peace is the fact that I'm using my hands. So generally, most jobs that you're using your hands more than doing the plan process, the hands people are usually the technicians. The process oriented people are usually the engineers. So that would be, if you have classes that can give you the best of both of those worlds, maybe you're a hybrid like me. I've done both, and it's there's no one just stamp that you can put on anything like that. But bringing you peace at what you do will make your job go by a lot easier. That's for sure. Just because your parents or some other family member tells you you need to go get this degree because that's what everybody in your family does, that's just silly. So, but you got to do what's right for you.
One additional thought on that is persistence is really powerful. While you're playing, while you're doing things that bring you joy, if they are easy, they become oftentimes boring and routinized, and you can start to disengage. And so constantly be challenging yourself, constantly fail, right? but fail in a way that you learn and you grow and you change and revisit that thing, so that through repeated efforts, you are able to succeed. Don't give up at the first challenge. Embrace that, grow through that, and have fun with it, right? Be willing to walk away and be like, well, that exploded. Let's try something else.
Awesome. I think that's some really rich, valuable information there. The next question is for Ryan, and you alluded to the answer a little bit. But do you have industry folks or industry partners that you work with through classes? And if so, what's that like being a student and working with people in the industry?
We don't work with industry specifically for our classes. We have industry-related projects that we apply our class knowledge to. So it's a little bit different. And I really enjoy working on those industry projects. It feels like we're actually contributing to a company a lot of the time. And it's at the end of the semester, it can be really rewarding to step back and say that we were able to help these people by creating this product, or doing the research to lay the groundwork for something that they plan to do in the future.
All right, Rob, do you have anything to add related to the program and working with industry?
Yeah, so I guess I would say that Ryan does have two classes that are directly connected to industry. We have a class called design and a class called professionalism, where he gets credit for working on these projects. We don't think of them as classes because they are doing classes. Ryan does the work to complete the credits, as opposed to me teaching him things. So he frames them a little differently. And as a student engineer, Ryan is regularly working with people like Andy and others in industry, learning to do communication, learning to work professionally, learning to scope projects, learning that clients don't always know what they're asking for. And so Ryan does get a lot of experience working with various industry professionals.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I was thinking more of the competency classes. Like, I
Right,
don't,
you're thinking of the standard technical
right.
credits.
So when you're doing work that's part of a class, but you don't realize it's part of a class, that's kind of a different spin on things.
Yeah, it's nice to not be able to not have to frame everything as a classwork. Sometimes you're just doing something that you're enjoying, or working on a project that's kind of fun, and you're getting credit for it for school too.
All right, so our next question is for Andy. So Andy, you have had many jobs in your career. Can you share with us what job gave you the most professional growth and why?
Actually, multiple jobs. It probably, so out of every step that I've taken in my career path, military for sure, attention to detail, 100% attention to detail. I would imagine Ryan could attest to that. Once I was out of the military, I worked for a place called Como Machine. There I experienced the work atmosphere. I was able to take my electronics experience that I had from the military and transition it into more of an electronic, or I'm sorry, more into an electrical type of machinery, where I was building machinery, commissioning it, and sending it out. And then moving over to Park Industries, I started as a electronic technician there, building machines as well. And the culture of that company is a family-owned business, and the owner of that company knew your family members' names. They, you weren't just somebody walking by them by coincidence. They took the time to understand who their employees were, and so it started off as a wiring technician, and then led that group. During that time period, since you were the people that were commissioning machines, making it all work, you would be asked to go out to customer sites with specific problems. Then moving into the office, doing customer service and training. Again, you were asked as a machine expert, you were asked to go out and service machines out in the field. Later on, being a support engineer, I developed a couple of machines that are actually still being used at Park 10 years later. One was a bridge saw. We did an upgrade to what was currently built. And the other was a photo station where you could take pictures of granite, and you could take it's a type of AutoCAD file, a DXF file, and it would grab the grains of the granite, and you could nest where your pieces would go, so you'd see what your kitchen would look like before you ever cut any stone, and get the customer's buy-in on whether or not they actually agreed that yes, this is the layout I want. I'll be happy once this goes in, because there are a lot of kitchen countertops that go into people's houses, and then they realize that they don't like how it looked. So with that was a brand new technology to the entire industry. So again, having to go out into the field and teach these people or fix their problems or do things of that nature, all of those different roles, they all offered that. And if you want a learning experience, go out to a customer site, have them breathing over your neck and wanting their machine running, and it's up to you one way or the other. You have to make that machine run and make it make money again. It can be hostile in the environment at the time, but once you get good at it and you make those machines run, it's pure adrenaline. And educational. When you have to figure it out on your own, you have to figure it out on your own. I know I supported a technician over in Vietnam installing a machine, and over there, their electric cycle is different, and with complicated controls that are all set up for 60 hertz, they're 50 hertz, and working through, since they're on a time zone, I was in Park Industries at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we were trying to figure out what was going on. We got the machines running and got him back home and safe. So being in front, being in the line of fire, being out in industry, having to figure it out, the biggest growth for sure. That I tell everyone that if you have an opportunity to travel for your business, customer relations, all these people from these different states, they act differently than Minnesotans. They talk differently than Minnesotans, and it only can strengthen you to be able to communicate with these people.
Thank you. So we don't have time for any more questions. We have a couple minutes left here. I want to quickly let each of the panelists take no more than 30 seconds just to share any final thoughts that you have that you'd like to share with these high schoolers and middle schoolers. Should we start with Rob?
If I can unmute myself. So one, you're doing exciting things. You're engaging in interesting things already just by being here. So keep on that road. If you are interested in our project-based curriculum and you're in the Twin Cities area, reach out. If you're interested in being in the Twin Cities area, reach out. You can reach me at sleazer@mnsu.edu. We also have a program up on the Iron Range. We are unique in the world, and I think that's exciting. I think we produce the best engineers anywhere. So I'll turn that over to one of our future best engineers. Ryan, what are your closing thoughts?
I would just echo some of the things that you said earlier. Don't be afraid to explore other avenues and learn other things and do other things. You never know how that's going to tie back into your life in the future. And don't be afraid to fail. Just always fail forward.
For me, I would hopefully I'll see some of these students, and hopefully Rose will get, or Melissa will get invites to go to or watch this event, right? All right, and
Absolutely.
if you see me, feel free to come up and talk to me at any upcoming competitions, and hopefully we can open our doors at Xcel Energy again once COVID is under control, and get people coming through our facilities so they gain interest in working in a power plant or working in a distribution center.
All right, thank you. I want to thank all three of our panelists for joining us today. I really appreciate the rich information that you shared, and I think our question and answer time was very valuable here. For those who attended, be on the lookout for an email tomorrow. I will send a program evaluation form your way, so you can give us feedback on what you thought about today's session. And if needed, we can make adjustments before our next session, which is in 2 weeks on November 9th, and we hope you're able to join us for that. With that, thank you, everybody, and have a great evening.
Thank you, panelists and Melissa.
Thank you all.